Welcome to the second part of the chapter Control in Plants, Control and Coordination. Plants may not have brains, but they are low key geniuses. How? Pure chemistry in biology with great timing. When light comes, the plant says, "Okay, team, bend towards the sun." When you touch a touch me not plant, it's like, "Oh my god, stranger danger." Snap! Leaves fold faster than your exam results. How do plants respond to stimulus? A stimulus is any change in the environment like light, water, gravity, touch, or chemicals. And plants respond to the stimulus in many different ways. By change in cell turgidity is the first way to respond. Some plants respond quickly by changing water pressure inside the cells. Example, a touch me not plant. Here the touch is the stimulus. Water immediately moves out of the certain cells. The cells thus lose the turgidity and the leaves immediately fold. In this way the response is achieved. Little tree plant. This plant, like the touch me not plant, has leaves that are sensitive to the touch and light and folding their leaflets in response to the stimuli using a similar turgor driven mechanism. This plant is also using a similar mechanism that is driven by the drop in the turgidity for achieving a response to the stimuli. Now, another type of response which you may have personally experienced at some point in your life is when you are watching too much mobile, which is a stimulus for your mom, and how your mom will respond to this stimulus. Well, in most of the cases, the rolling pin is the mom's response. I mean, a beating with the rolling pin from your mom may be the response. But what is a stimulus? Jokes apart, a stimulus is any change in the environment that causes a response in organisms. The touch me not plant loses water from its cell in response to touch, causing the leaves to fold. When the plant cells lose turgidity, the water does not disappear, it's not magic, it simply moves out of the cells. Here is what happens step by step. The stimulus in touch me not plant causes the water to move out of the cells of the pulvinus, that is the swollen region at the base of the leaf. The water enters the intercellular spaces or the nearby adjacent cells. Sometimes it moves into the vascular tissues. Because the water leaves the cells become flaccid or soft. The pressure inside the cells decreases. The leaf folds or droops, and no water is lost from the plant body. It is just redistributed. Movement also happens from the point different from the point of touch. Plants use electrical chemical means to transfer information from cell to cell, and also some cells change their shape in order to for the movement to happen. So the plant cells do not have any specialized proteins or any muscles. The movement due to growth. Another type of movement is happening in the body, it is due to growth. Movement due to growth in plants is slow and permanent. Tropism is the growth movement of a plant part in response to an external stimulus in a particular direction. Movements can either be towards the stimulus or away from it. Tropism is a slow and permanent movement. Tropic movements occur in only the growing regions, example the root tips. Environmental triggers such as the light or the gravity will change the direction that the plant grows. So now we will learn about the types of tropism with examples. First is the phototropism. What is phototropism? Phototropism is when the shoot bends towards the light. The reason is the auxin hormone accumulates on the shaded side. Cells elongate there more, and thus it appears as if the plant is bending towards the source of light. Geotropism. It is the response to gravity. Here the stimulus is the gravity. The roots grow downwards and the shoots grow upward. So the shoot is showing negative geotropism away from gravity and the root is showing positive. Positive tropism is the growth towards the stimulus and negative tropism is the growth away from the stimulus. Hydrotropism is another type of tropism which is the response to water. Stimulus in this case is the water, and examples are when the roots grow towards the moist soil or the source of water. This it is very important, it helps the plants to absorb water efficiently. Tomato roots and the radish roots are excellent examples of the plants showing positive hydrotropism, the growth of roots towards a water source, which is crucial for the survival as they sense moisture gradients and grow towards the higher water concentration. Now comes the chemotropism. It is the growth of the pollen tube towards the ovule during fertilization, guided by the chemical signals. Additionally, the plant roots exhibit positive chemotropism. After pollination, the pollen grain germinates on the stigma, forming a tube that grows down towards the ovary. The ovule releases chemical attractants like sugars or nutrients that guide the pollen tube's tip to grow directionally towards the female gamete for fertilization. This is how the chemotropism works. The root also grows towards the areas which are rich in beneficial minerals and nutrients essential for plant survival, demonstrating positive chemotropism. And when the roots will grow away from harmful substances like acids or toxics or heavy metals in the soil, they are demonstrating negative chemotropism. Chemical sensing by the root tips is present. If a chemical damages the cells or disrupts the metabolism, the growth on that site slows down. As a result, the root bends away from the harmful chemicals, showing the negative chemotropism. Thigmotropism, or the sensitivity to touch. Tendrils coil around a support. How? Stimulus is the touch or contact, and the tendrils of the climbers coil around the support for providing the mechanical support to the plant. The examples are the pea plant or the money plant. How information is communicated in the bodies of multicellular organisms. Now let's find out. The movement of the sensitive plant in response to the touch is very quick. The movement of sunflowers in response to day or night, on the other hand, is quite slow. Growth related movements of the plants will even be slower. Even in animal bodies, there are carefully controlled directions to growth. Our arms and fingers grow in certain directions and not haphazardly. So, controlled movements can either be slow or fast. The electrical impulses are excellent means for the fast responses to the stimuli. Electrical impulses or the nerve impulses are very fast, but they cannot be used everywhere or for every function in the body. They only reach connected cells. Electrical impulses can travel only along the nerve fibers. And what are the nerve fibers? They are long, thread like extensions of the nerve cells or the neurons and carry impulses from one part of the body to another. So they cannot reach all the body cells at the same time. Then why the nerve fibers are not connected to the whole body directly? Because the nerve fibers are extremely thin and delicate, and they cannot reach every cell of the body directly. Instead, they are organized into the nerves and coordinated through the brain and spinal cord for efficient communication. In the human body, electrical impulses cannot be used for responses that need to be slow, lasting, long lasting, and widespread. Once an electrical impulse is generated in a cell and transmitted, the cell will take some time to reset its mechanism before it can generate and transmit a new impulse. In other words, cells cannot continually create and transmit electrical impulses. It is thus no wonder that most multicellular organisms use another means of communication between the cells, namely the chemical communication. So, the electrical impulses are not useful for the widespread control. For activities like growth, development, and hormonal balance, the body therefore needs chemical coordination hormones instead. Are the hormones therefore a chemical response or a chemical response carrier? Hormones are not the responses themselves. Hormones are the chemical response carriers. They are released by the endocrine glands into the bloodstream, and they instruct the target cells to alter their behavior. The chemical communication is the method by which the body cells send messages using chemicals called the hormones. These chemicals are released by which glands? They are released by the endocrine glands and are carried by the blood to the target organs. Why chemical communication is needed? Electrical impulses are fast, but they are short lived. That is why the hormones providing the chemical communication is needed. They are slow, long lasting, and achieve the widespread control. The key features of the chemical communication are they use the hormones. Hormones are chemical messengers, as I already told. They are secreted in very small quantities. They are transported by the blood. They reach all the parts of the body and act only on the target organs with specific receptors. It is a slow but long lasting process. The effects last minutes to years, example, growth and puberty. It controls the major body functions like the growth and development, metabolism, reproduction, stress, and emotions. The examples of chemical communication are adrenaline prepares the body for emergencies, insulin controls the blood sugar, thyroxine regulates the metabolism of the body, and the growth hormone, which also regulates the body growth. The plant hormones are chemical messengers that regulate the plant growth, movement, and development by acting at a site different from where they are actually produced. The different plant hormones help to coordinate growth, development, and response to the environment. They are synthesized at places away from where they act and simply diffuse to the area of action wherever they are needed. Auxin is a crucial plant hormone regulating growth and development, primarily by promoting cell elongation, which allows stems to grow longer and bend towards light, phototropism, and roots to grow downward, gravity tropism. It also stimulates root initiation, making cuttings root, controls fruit development, maintains apical dominance, and aids in wound healing, especially governing plant shape, direction, and responses to the environment. The gibberellins, which, like the auxins, also help in the growth of the stem and influence different developmental processes, which include the stem elongation, germination, flowering, enzyme induction, etc. Cytokinins, they promote the cell division, and it is natural then that they are present in greater concentration in the areas of rapid cell division. What are these areas? These areas are in the fruits and seeds, and these are the examples of the plant hormones that help in promoting growth. But plants also need the signals to stop growing. So, abscisic acid is one example of a hormone which inhibits the growth. It affects including the wilting of the leaves. This hormone helps to stop the growing in the plants. Now, what is wilting? Wilting is the drooping or the bending of the leaves and the soft stems due to the loss of turgidity or the water from the plant cells. How is the movement of the leaves of the sensitive plant different from the movement of a shoot towards the light? A good question. The movement of the leaves of the sensitive plant is different from the movement of a shoot towards light because sensitive plant shows nastic movement, which is caused by touch and occurs due to changes in the turgor pressure in the cells without any growth. This movement is fast, reversible, and independent of the direction of the stimulus. The nastic refers to the type of the plant movement that does not depend on the direction of the stimulus. In contrast, the bending of a shoot towards light is a tropic movement, phototropism, that involves unequal growth on different sides of the shoot due to the action of auxin. This movement is slow, irreversible, and depends on the direction of the light. When light is coming from one side of the plant, auxin diffuses towards the shady side of the shoot. This concentration of auxin stimulates the cells to grow longer on the side of the shoot which is away from light. Thus, the plant appears to bend towards the light. How do auxins promote the growth of a tendril around a support? Then, auxins also promote the growth of a tendril around a support by causing unequal growth on the two sides of the tendril. Whenever a tendril touches a support, auxin accumulates on the side away from the point of contact. The higher concentration of auxin on this side stimulates faster cell elongation, while growth on the touched side slows down. As a result, the tendril bends and coils around that support. This response is an example of thigmotropism, movement in response to the touch. Now, design an experiment to demonstrate hydrotropism. This is another NCERT question. First of all, fill a clear container with soil or sand, keeping one side relatively dry and the other side moist where the water source will be. Now, place a porous spot filled with water or a saturated wet wick filter paper on one side of the container. Sow a few bean seeds on the opposite side, away from the water source. Ensure the soil or the sand near the seed is not overly wet, creating a clear gradient towards the porous spot. Now observe, cover the container to retain the humidity but allow the light, and place it in a spot with light. Plants do need light for growth. Now monitor daily. For several days, observe the direction of the root growth. You have to observe the root growth. You will see the roots growing downwards initially, and then they will bend and grow towards the porous pod, that is the source of the water. This bending towards the water demonstrates positive hydrotropism, a phenomena where the roots grow directionally in response to the water gradient. How are such chemical or hormonal means of information transmission used in animals? What do some animals, for instance squirrels, experience when they are in a scary situation? Their bodies have to prepare for either fighting or either running away. Both are very complicated activities that will use a great deal of energy in controlled ways. Many different tissue types will be used and their activities integrated together in these actions. However, the two alternative activities, fighting or running, are also quite different. So, here is a situation in which some common preparations can be usefully made in the body. If the body design in the squirrel relied only on electrical impulses via the nerve cells, the range of tissues instructed to prepare for the coming activity would be limited. On the other hand, if a chemical signal were to be sent as well, it would reach all the cells of the body and provide wide ranging changes needed. This is done in many animals, including human beings, using a hormone called adrenaline that is secreted from adrenal glands. Adrenaline is a hormone secreted by the adrenal glands, the inner part of the adrenal medulla. It prepares the body to face emergency or the stressful situations. So, this hormone is secreted by the adrenal glands and prepares us for any emergency. It is a hormone that helps the body to respond to stress by preparing it for a fight or flight. Why it is called the emergency hormone? Because it prepares our body to react quickly in any dangerous situation. Because we don't have to waste the time and immediately we have to react whenever we are in any emergency situation. That's why it is emergency hormone. When it is released in the events of fear, in the events of anger, whenever there is stress and whenever there is excitement, all are the different these are different situations when it is released. Now the effects of adrenaline on the body, it will increase the heart rate, increasing the breathing rate also. It raises the blood pressure also. Our body will become a slight warmer also. Increases the blood glucose level also. And it directs what? It directs more blood to the muscles. The heart beats faster, resulting in the supply of more oxygen to our muscles. The blood to the digestive system and the skin is reduced due to the contraction of the muscles around small arteries in these organs. This diverts the blood to our skeletal muscles. The breathing rate is also increases because of the contractions of the diaphragm and the rib muscles. All these responses together enable the animal body to be ready to deal with the situation. Such animal hormones are a part of the endocrine system, which constitutes a second way of control and coordination in our body. Now, how hormones help in the coordinated growth? Hormones help in coordination, growth, and development of the body. We have already studied. Thyroxine is produced by the thyroid gland. It regulates carbohydrate, proteins, and fat metabolism in our body. The deficiency of iodine can cause goiter, which is like a swollen neck, due to the enlargement of the thyroid gland. Iodized salt is therefore important because iodine makes thyroxine hormone. Now, the growth hormone secreted by the pituitary gland controls overall body growth. The deficiency of the growth hormone in childhood leads to dwarfism, while the excess can cause gigantism. Changes during the puberty occurs due to testosterone in the males and the estrogen in the females. Insulin produced by the pancreas regulates blood sugar levels. Lack or improper secretion of insulin causes diabetes, leading to high blood sugar levels. Hormones must be released in precise amounts for proper functioning of the body. The hormone secretion is controlled by the feedback mechanism. For example, the high blood sugar will trigger the pancreas to release more insulin, and the normal blood sugar, the insulin will be released in normal quantities. Now, why are some patients of diabetes treated by giving injections of insulin? Because their pancreas do not produce enough insulin, or the insulin produced is not effective enough. Insulin is the actual hormone that helps glucose enter the body cells and keep the blood sugar levels normal. When the insulin is insufficient, the glucose remains in the blood, causing high blood sugar levels, which can damage the organs. The pancreas may produce insufficient insulin, mainly due to the damage or malfunction of the insulin producing cells. Therefore, the insulin injections are given to control the blood sugar levels and prevent harmful effects of the diabetes. This brings us to the end of this chapter. And also, please do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Keep watching for more.